If you're a professional woman doing all the right things financially, contributing to your 401k, maybe putting money in an IRA, paying your bills, and working hard, I want to tell you something that may be uncomfortable, but I have found it to be so true. A retirement account by itself is just not a financial plan because retirement accounts were built to help you someday. But what if life happens before someday? What happens if you need to step back from work to care for a parent? Or you had a child? What happens if you get burned out and you want more flexibility? What happens if your income changes? Your marriage changes, your health changes, or your priorities change. That's the part that nobody ever talks about, especially women. We kind of keep it all together for ourselves. Some women need more than a retirement account. We need a second plan, a second stream of income in addition to our professional working lives. A second way to build options without having to quit a job, which you might already love. And for me, that's where rental property changed the conversation completely. Doing all the right things financially. Not too long ago, I was fortunate enough to attend a women's retreat, and it was all about taking time for myself and to really reflect on what I wanted out of life. And one of the things that I find I want is I want financial security. And investing in one type of retirement account, having an IRA or even a self-directed IRA just didn't give me the comfort. And I didn't want to wait until I was 65 years old to say, oh my gosh, I need more money. Or I wish I would have started earlier in figuring out how to supplement my income and not rely on. That's why I felt very strongly about making this video because I do think that professional women as a whole, I find myself thinking of myself as a professional woman. I worked in the corporate world for many, many years before I became a real estate investor. And the thing is that yes, I had a retirement account. Yes, I contributed to my retirement account, but I didn't feel like I had options that would allow me to build that retirement account. So I really started looking at things that could benefit me, give me a second income, and really kind of take out that fear of what if? What if I just lost my job tomorrow? What if I got divorced? So that's why I really am very strongly passionate about women, professional women, thinking about other forms of income to supplement their full-time jobs. So at the retreat I was at, we were asked to kind of look at, life and circumstances and things like that. And again, it was all women. It was a small group of us. There was only about 8 of us of the married or whatever. But when you think about that, that's kind of a high statistic. Of the 6, 5 of them had children. And of the 5, 4 of them had children under the age of 15. So they still had kids at home that they were responsible for raising. So does this sound familiar for you? You're doing everything right. You're going to work. You're putting money in your retirement account. And the reality is that your financial future is on paper. And do you feel secure about that? It's on paper. It's not in your hand. It's on paper. And when it's on paper, then it's not in your full control, is it? There's other factors that could impact that retirement account. Stocks go up and down. So do you feel secure by having your financial future on a piece of paper? Now, I want to be clear here. I don't think having a 401k is a bad thing or having a self-directed IRA or an IRA. In fact, that's just one asset of more assets that you can have. So I think it's a great thing to have a retirement account, especially if you work for a company that will do match. So that is a good thing. So that's not to take away from, oh, let's build. What I'm saying is that what we need to do is start thinking about adding to our retirement. Adding to retirement is for in the future, for when we aren't working anymore. But what about today? So keeping the retirement good thing, but it's not the complete plan. So again, having a retirement account is great. It's money that we're socking away. It's for that time after we leave. So it's for life after, right? You're building something solid for after your professional career is over. You don't need to access the money today, and I'm not a financial planner. So what I'm saying is that having a retirement account is a good thing. And it's just one step towards making sure that you have the life that you want. And it's more about supplementing that because life doesn't work on a piece of paper. Life changes, our financial needs change. So, this is not about being a victim of financial circumstances. This is about the reality check that a lot of women need to have. And I think when I was at the retreat, we were really having a lot of discussions around life events. Life events impact our finances. Now, we didn't talk about finances, but we talked about how, people chose to stay home to raise their children. Um, Women typically, not always, but we have a over lifetime, we earn less than men because we had to step away to have the children. We have daycare costs and when our children are younger, that's kind of where our focus is. And then as they get older, one of the things is about, finding yourself. And in the retreat, we talked about how, you work, you work, you work. And there were some very high powered women at this retreat. And every single one of them, they were probably in their 40s or 50s. The majority of us were. And here's the message is that we worked and we built strong careers. We raised our family. And at the end of the day, yes, we have money, but we don't have fulfillment. So when life happens, your income is interrupted because of a life event, then that's when you're saying, okay, yes, the 401k and the retirement is good, but that's for after. What about the before time? The before the life event happens? Can you be more prepared financially by looking at investing? So this is what I think about, retirement accounts. Again, good thing. And I think you should have one. And if, even if you don't work for an employer that has one, it's always good to just open up an account, at your credit union. That's what I did. I've been self-employed for a long time and I went to my credit union and I opened up an IRA. So having a retirement account is wonderful. So the retirement accounts are future based, but they don't give you much flexibility when life happens, or if you get career burned out or, there's company layoffs. So when you make a change in your primary financial situation, then the retirement pot becomes less important because you need money today. You need to have stability in your finances today. So that's why I encourage women who are currently working to transition into real estate investing because they have the resources to be able to do that. They don't have to worry about where their next paycheck is coming and they can plan for today and tomorrow by adding real estate investing as part of their overall financial plan. So I love this. Retirement accounts, they grow income over time, but it doesn't create income now. That's today. That's money. You can take that money. In my last video, we talked about leveraging your rental properties, and you can literally leverage your rental properties and get money that way to invest in, if you wanted to invest in the stock market, or if you wanted to invest in Bitcoin or whatever it is, or you want to buy another property. So the retirement accounts are actually great for later in life, right? But if you have to have some kind of income, you would like to have income now to supplement your paycheck, then that's where real estate investing has a place in your financial plan. And, as a professional woman, I'm not in the corporate world anymore, but you know what I needed when I was? I needed flexibility. I needed flexibility around my income. I needed options. I needed to say, okay, I don't want to just rely on this one person, this one company to pay me every week or every other week. I wanted another income stream in case I needed to leave, in case. And so in my case, I ended up getting a divorce. Now, fortunately, my employer worked with me, but it could have gone the other way where away from work. I had, a very small child. And so I was not only did I have to take physical leave from my job, but mentally, and I was in management. So, I was very fortunate that my employer worked with me, but had the employer not, and I was not a real estate investor at the time. So that could have gone very, very badly for me and my daughter. So I got work flexibility. That's one of the options that women need. And I also got control over my own timeline. So I was, again, very fortunate, and I was grateful that that happened. But now that I've had that experience, because I've had women that have gone through similar things that I have, and they didn't have that work flexibility and they didn't have options. And if they had thought about real estate investing before the life event, then they would be in a little bit better financial position. And the thing is if you feel financially stable during life events, it just gives you a little bit more confidence when you don't have to worry about money, because money causes me a lot of angst if I feel like I don't have enough money. So if that's someone like you and you want to shore up your financial plan, and you have the 401k and you have the IRA, but you want to find another way to just have more options, then real estate investing could be a great path for you. So this is what I want to share with you is that a rental property fits, I call it the second pillar. It can be you have your professional job, your salaried job, then you have your retirement accounts, then this can add a second pillar to your financial plan. So I'm not talking about real estate as a replacement for your retirement, but a supplemental to the financial plan. So when you are getting monthly cash flow, and when you're getting mortgage pay down, and when you're able to leverage more equity in the property, and you're able to take advantage of meaningful tax advantages that will benefit your bottom line. So the takeaway about rental properties is this: and a retirement account is for the future you, and a rental property is for the future you, but also the present you. And again, I really want you to focus on, building while you keep your job. And that is really the easiest, is that most women are looking at ways to supplement their income and also build on something so that they don't have to rely on the one paycheck, that they don't have that employment dependency, on a boss or a company, and they move away from the fear of being laid off or what ifs of a life change because they're taking action today. And it also helps create breathing room. So if you know that you have an asset, and you lose your job tomorrow, but you have some cash flow coming from that property or you have tax benefits from that property, then that gives you actually a little bit of breathing room. And if you have a little bit of breathing room, let's be real, that means you have a less stress in your life, not completely 100% free stress free, but you can just breathe easier and you can sleep better at night. And then you can choose if you want to make work optional over time so that you don't have to be dependent on one source of income. So, one thing I kind of want to talk is that, the strongest financial position is when it's not one or the other. It's when you can get both of them to work together. So retirement money versus your option money or the rental money. So the retirement account, you have the tax advantage growth. So you're putting things in there, pre-tax dollars. It's designed for the long term and it's compounding on itself, and you have early access comes with some, real trade-offs. I mean, you can get it, but it's, sometimes depending on your age and whatnot, there could be penalties. So you might lose part of what you've put in. And it helps you at a retirement age where a rental property can generate income before your retirement. So today instead of tomorrow, it builds equity steadily over time, so that's great, and you get the appreciation. It's accessible and flexible as your needs change. So it might be that you hold a property for 3 or 4 years and then you decide to sell it because, it went up so much in value, or, you can increase rents, or you have leverage that you can do cash out and take some of that money and then go buy another property or go on a nice vacation. It's up to you because it's tax free. Or you could put it in your retirement account. Certain limits, but you could do that. You could open up a retirement account for your children, the college fund. You could do that. So having that optional income through real estate investing gives you options. It helps you now and tomorrow. Now, here's the best case. What if nothing happens? What if you don't lose your job? The stock market your 401k that's based on the stock market, it keeps on soaring. Have you lost anything if you add a second source of income? So that's the best case scenario. And the rental property is still going to keep on paying you. If anything, if the market is doing good, your rental, your investment is going to be doing good. So you kind of get like a double whammy, if you will. You're having a great 401k that's going to help you, later in life. And then you have this rental income, not only helping you today, but also will add to that overall financial plan later on in life. So here's a question worth asking. How much money do you need in your retirement account? Do you know? Do you know the number? So most financial planning analysts, this is the question that they start with. And it's a good question and you should have some idea, but it might not be the complete question. So here's a question that changes the game. How many financial options am I creating outside my paycheck? So that one question changes the discussion, doesn't it? It shifts the focus. It shifts it shifts the focus of how you want to build a financial plan. So it's not just putting X number of dollars, in a particular account. It's about the overall plan of helping you financially today and tomorrow. Now, you might have asked, what changed my mind about real estate investing? I don't think I've really. So, when I had that big life change that I was talking about, it kind of knocked me for a loop because I wasn't sure, should I keep putting money in that retirement account? Because now I went from a two income household to a one income household. A lot to say there. And that was me. That was all me. I had to provide for my daughter. I had to make my mortgage payment. I had to make my car payment. That was all dependent on me. And let me say, I had a lot of nights that I went to sleep not breathing. So if I did go to sleep, I was like just full of angst because of that. So I wanted something that I could build on, that I didn't have to rely on, just being that one person household income. I wanted to have more than just one paycheck dependency. So I wanted an asset that not only produced income, rental properties, but also something that would appreciate over time, that I could take the tax benefits from. So when I looked into real estate investing, number one, it was the safest investment that I saw out there. It was the most consistent investment that I saw out there. And it was something that I could understand. I could touch it. And and number two, the goal is not to say, quit your job. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is that you need to move into a space where you are not paycheck dependent, like on just one source of income. So, look at least have the conversation, if something to this one source of income, if that were to go away, what would you and your family do? And then number three, a rental property is not just an investment. It's actually a springboard, an option to creating an asset that over time will make you money, will reduce your tax burden, and it changes what's possible for you moving forward. So, you know what? Real security comes from just building options. It has never been about just having one source of income, one source of retirement. It's always been about building options that fit your lifestyle and that can offset anything that might happen, with life events, so that you are not caught financially unprepared. So that's why we talk about the one paycheck. One paycheck and one retirement account are rarely enough, especially in today's economy. And the thing is that the retirement account is for tomorrow. And what you should look at today is financial planning that evolves around today and tomorrow can supplement. So continue building your retirement account. But if your whole financial source of income is based on one source, but if your entire financial future is based on one retirement account and one paycheck, then you just owe it to yourself to think about other options outside of those two things. Because what if something happens? And I think, if you're like most people, the goal is not just about retiring one day, work, 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 and then retiring. It's about living a life that you want. And, retirement doesn't have to be at 65. It can be at 45. It can be at 40, And so I guess what I'm saying is that I have seen how real estate investing can really be that vehicle that helps people transition out of that one paycheck dependency, that one retirement account, and really building together so that you have a financial plan that supports the type of lifestyle that you want. So if you're ready to go deeper and just find out more, maybe you've been listening to a couple of my videos. So, number one, I would say visit our resource center. We have a lot of tools and resources there that will help you get started and at least check out if real estate investing might be something that you can do now to help you transition and to also supplement your overall financial plan. And then do connect with us on all the socials. Follow us, and then you can always reach out if you have any questions. All of our info and the link below to the resource center is in the description below.